Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear my respectful viewer of Islamic Iman TV, I'm so much happy that I'm here with you once again in every Friday 6 o'clock p.m. in California time. Before that, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever I say, hopefully to be benefit for you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Of course, this dua is the dua that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to Musa alayhi salam when he went to a big battle to one person to whole nation of the Pharaoh. That dua was the first. However, as you know, your program every week is one by Farsi language, which is my own native language, Farsi. And the next week must be a translation of the Farsi language. Last week, your program in the believer program, the subject was about the haya, which it means in English is modesty. So that's why I have to translate it, whatever I said last week, and I have to put them in written, hopefully to be not make any different or extra word or something. That's why I wrote it by translated one by one. I hope to be not forget some of them, but however, I did it for you, the translation of the last week program, and today I would like to share with you. However, but before I have talk about the modesty or haya, there is another subject which is they call it humility. And I would like to before that also I would like to give you the information or definition of the humility. What is the humility? Humility is a quality of being humble or humbleness. Humility as a low self-regard and sense of unworthiness. In a religion context, humility can mean a recognition of self in relation to a deity or to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and self debasement or demoralization with the subsequent submission to a religion. And without think of religion, if somebody don't want to to choose to religion to talk about the humility, that also there is some other things. So a liberation from the conscience of self, a form of the temperance that is neither having pride or arrogance, nor indulging in self deprecation. Humility is an outward expression of an appropriate inner or self-regard, and is contrast with the humiliations, which is an imposition of an extra of shame, extra of shame upon a person. Humility may be misappropriated as a ability to suffer humiliations through self-denouncement, which in itself remains focused on self rather than low self focus. Humility in many religions, traditions, it contrasts with the self-admirations and self-love, in other form of the pride, and is an idealistic and rare intrinsic construct that has an extrinsic side. In Islam, humility is mentioned in Quran and also various Arabic words conveying the meaning of humility are used, mostly interpreted as surrender to Almighty God, to have meekness, or in Arabic khuzu or khushu'. Humility is not think less of yourself, but to think about yourself less. Your humbleness, other, and your modesty bring out the modesty of other. Modesty, known now, we would like to talk about our main subject about the modesty. Modesty, known as demureness, is a mode of dress and deportment or performing clothes, which intends to avoid the encouraging of sexual attractions in others. The word modesty, keeping within measured standards of modesty or cultural in context of dependent and vary widely. In this use, it may be considered inappropriate or immodest to reveal certain part of the body. In some society, modesty may be involve women covering their body completely and not talking to men who are immediate family members. In some country, exposures of the body in a violations of the community standards of modesty is also considered to be public indecency and public nudity. Is generally illegal in most of the world and regarded of as indecent exposure, decent exposures. For example, in one was in England. That person was attempting to walk naked from the south and north London repeatedly, I think, and finally they got him in jail. They put him in jail. of course, some may accept it. Was that to that kind of society, which there is not about the humility, or they don't think about, but they accept it. It's okay, but it is an immodest character, such a kind of naked to be. And this kind of characters also, it is the same as the animal character, of course, as we know. Covering body is a fashion. If someone use a nice clothes or a nice veil, and mostly the woman, he or she look heavy, more prestige among the people, which we know about them. So if someone is even the dirty clothes or some, they don't pay attention, those things don't look good. And another one way about the veil also is benefit the body of because the body of human being cannot tolerate below 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So must cover to keep the body warm. So, however, someone must be, to me, to be foolish or silly, to be, to walk in naked around this society. However, modesty as a shame or shyness in a human being as shrinking of the soul inside the body, soul, from foul conduct, a quality that prevent one from the behaving badly towards others, or encouraging others to behave badly towards himself or herself. Islamic ethic considers modesty as more than just a question of how a person dresses, and more than modesty in front of the people. Rather, it is reflected in a Muslim's speech, or also in dress, in conducting to the public, in regard to people, and in private in regard to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too. In any talk of modesty is necessary to person has to be think about it. So therefore must begin with the heart. When somebody was talking or doing something, that has to be begin what is in their heart or their mind, or to think that it is the way which I'm doing is good or bad. So not to be as the Himlin. So as also in this regard, Prophet Muhammad regard of the modesty, he mentioned it that the modesty is a part of faith, part of the deen, and that part of faith must lay in heart. Or those modesty which has to be, or the action coming has to be relay on the heart. There is also some observations about the modesty. First, in talking, or in a speech, someone wants to say something, and he has to be, think about the modesty, how he be modest. It is not to come out and start talking, which is nonsense talking, is bringing the person prestige down, of course. So the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is favor the person who has modest. So for that some reservation, inshallah after one break I would like to give you some more information about the modesty, inshallah.